What's up, y'all? Welcome to Diaries of a Mindful Stoner, where we talk all things cannabis, spiritual, and intentionally smoke related. Today, I want you guys to take a deep breath, grab your lighter, spark up if you're smoking, while we set the vibe for the very first visual episode of Diaries of a Mindful Stoner. Today's high thought of the day, something that I want you to take with you, is when you spark up, you exhale first. You don't hold on to the smoke expecting a fresh hit to come in. You release it and then you inhale the new. And I want you to take that with you and apply it to your life as far as releasing the things that no longer served you or have served their purpose. It's been a minute since I talked to you guys, so I want to pick up where we left off, which was my journey of becoming a mindful stoner. Um, I want to preface this by saying there is no complicated, elaborate lifestyle that I live to be a mindful stoner. It's honestly just awareness and intention. Being aware of why it is that you're smoking, how it makes you feel, what is causing you to want to indulge in the ways that you indulge. And as I mentioned in the first episode, my journey with cannabis has been up and down. I mean, the relationship has gotten toxic at some point on my end as far as the ways that I abused the plant and misused it. I can say in hindsight, I definitely abused the plant. I mean, compared to the relationship that I have with it now, the respect level, the reverence, just the intentionality behind the way that I use the plant now. It's common for smokers to eventually fall into a habitual type of lifestyle or relationship with the plant to where you're not even choosing to smoke. It's just something that you do. It's a part of your daily routine. Like, for example, you wake up and you smoke before you go to work or after you get off work or before bed, whatever the case may be. You have your reasons why you do what you do, because cannabis is a tool. And just like any tool, the way that you use it is going to depend on the results that you get from it. This is a similar conversation where people feel like the gun is the issue opposed to the person holding the gun. Controversial topic, but it is food for thought to think about. Now, I really want to share my journey of how I felt out of alignment when it came to smoking and what kind of shifted me to change my relationship with the plant, which I touched upon in the first episode, but I'll go deeper in this one. I I knew I was out of alignment whenever I, for one, started feeling internal guilt about smoking. Just thinking about, well, maybe if I didn't smoke as much, I would be more productive and further in life. Blaming the plant for my lack of productivity when really it's me. It was me and my mental health against the world. And I don't think that it was right that I blamed the plant, but in the same sense, I also understood where it came from, because I would just smoke and not even do anything afterward. I mean, it was just I wasn't even getting high from it anymore. I was just doing it just to do it, just because it was there and there was nothing else to do, and that was what I was used to. And you get that type of mindset when you consume and abuse something for 10 years, or any amount of years or months. You just adapt to that type of mindset and lifestyle. Another example I would use for me knowing I was out of alignment with the plant was the fact that I just heavily relied on it. I mean, I pre-gamed before everything, even the dishes. It didn't matter what it was. I just felt I just felt like I just had to smoke. Like I wasn't myself if I didn't smoke, and that's not okay, because I'm still me. Like, you got to think I was definitely dealing with stress and inconvenience before I started smoking. This wasn't always the one size fits all answer for all my problems in life. And I think it just got to a point where I related and resonated with the fact that it was a tool to use for me to escape, and not really deal with my problems. And because I associated it with a way to get away from just quieting my mind and getting away from the stress that I have, I, on top of having an addictive personality, like I mentioned, when I was first introduced to the plant, I had a great experience. So it took almost no time for me to clung onto it. On top of that, it was my go to. It was my savior. It was what I needed to do this crazy thing called life or get through it. With me relying on it, I also came into that type of mindset where I would spend so much money on buying it because I felt like I needed it, because that is what helped me tackle my day-to-day everyday inconveniences in life. So once that was like a non-factor, oh, I can't afford it, like my money's getting funny because I'm spending so much on it, and I still was making that decision to spend my last on it, that's when I knew I had a problem. Like, maybe this is not a healthy relationship. And in today's time, you see a lot of people on social media claiming that they stopped smoking and everything in their life has just improved. Like, cannabis was just the problem, the only problem, and to quitting smoking is the only solution. And that, honestly, I already felt like I needed to stop because I was doing it so much and I felt that guilt, that, and seeing that on top of that just made me feel like maybe I did need to stop. So I considered it. I would tell myself that I would stop and I actually wouldn't. I would continue smoking and then I would feel shittier on top of that because I just told myself that I would be done as soon as I run out. And here I am. I can't even get through the first 24 hours without hitting my plug up and getting some more. And that's a problem, just relying on anything, regardless of what it be, is a problem and unhealthy. So I acknowledge that I didn't really want to quit. I just wanted a healthier relationship with it, and through that honestly came me feeling like maybe I don't need to quit necessarily. Maybe I just need to figure out a way that is healthier and works for me, that I can do, that'll make me feel better about my life and what I'm choosing to do with it, which is smoke majority of the day, multiple times a day. Um, so I thought about that. I changed my perspective. I started asking myself questions. Well, why do I even want to smoke? What is my triggers? How do I feel before I smoke? How do I feel after? I started doing more research. I started being more intentional. And honestly, that gap alone changed my relationship instantly. Like, it didn't take much. Like, I didn't need crystals or some initiation to for me to embrace this new lifestyle, this new healthier habit. It just really took me filling that gap of information and applying it. So that's what I do now, is I spread the word, because people don't know what they don't know. People aren't taught how to intentionally use the plant. I mean, for the most part, it is something that people do as a recreational activity, to bond with other people. Um, and yes, you do have the people out there who use it medicinally, but they have their intention clearly. That's set in stone. That's already happening. But the people who use it recreationally, that's where the lines get a little blurred of using it intentionally versus falling into the habitual act of smoking and it becoming just something that doesn't bring value to your life anymore, but is negatively affecting it. The reason I talk about conscious smoking and being a mindful stoner so much is because smokers carry this guilt of smoking. They question themselves on if they smoke too much, should they quit. I mean, they're not everybody, but the people who can relate, you know, and I make content for people like that who feel like quitting isn't their answer. Like quitting isn't a one size fits all answer for everybody. There is other ways and methods out here that you can take advantage of to still enjoy your greens, but in a healthier, more fulfilling way, opposed to it being depleting and draining and just something that you do. You know, you don't the stereotype of being a stoner is so outdated because I find more people using it intentionally than ever, or at least there's more of an awakening around that. Now, yes, you'll see an influx of people talking about quitting, but if that is your journey, if you feel called to stop smoking, honor that. Don't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, telling yourself you're going to stop and then you don't really stop because you don't really want to. You just feel like you need to stop. Get an understanding of where that stems from. Why do you feel like you need to quit? And then what could you change about that to where you do feel the opposite, you know? Those are the type of questions you have to ask yourself, especially when it comes to tools in life. And just like anything else in life, the things that you overuse and abuse, they're no longer beneficial. Like maybe at first it was, but now, 10 years in, you just doing it just to do it because this is all you know. You're not getting anything from it. I think it's fair to say a change needs to happen, and change is good. Evolution happens throughout our our journey of life. We're not meant to be the same. We're meant to grow, and the relationships that we have are meant to evolve with us, grow as we grow. Otherwise, you're staying the same. And if you like it, I love it, but I will always be an advocate for growth. Now, the conversation which we slightly talked about when it comes to smoking to escape versus smoking to go inside, this is a conversation that I feel so many stoners can relate to. And when it comes to being a mindful stoner, it is so easy to fall into that habit of smoking just to do it. Or if you're going through something mentally and you're struggling mentally, it's so easy to fall into that smoking to escape, because honestly cannabis is really good for that. And it's not always going to make you escape. Like there have been times where I smoked and I didn't want to think about X, Y, and Z, yet I still thought about it because after I got high. And now we touched upon the conversation of smoking to escape versus smoking with intention, and I think there is a conversation to be had about people who abuse the plant in a way to escape their problems, because you can smoke as much as you want, but the problem still remains. I mean, it's not like it's solving the problem. If anything, you're putting a band-aid over a bullet wound. You're just trying to quickly go on to the next thing without addressing the issue and actually doing the work that needs to be done so you can heal and go on to the next. And I'm not saying this from a place of judgment, because I, for one, can relate, which is why I speak from experience, the experience that I have, and you take whatever applies to your life, and hopefully it helps you in a sense. But when you smoke to escape, the goal is usually just to get as far away from whatever is troubling and inconveniencing you in that moment. And I want you to know you still have to do the work, babe. Cannabis is not going to do the work for you. It'll give you what you're looking for, but it'll also give you what you need. So if you're trying to avoid X, Y, and Z, I mean, it may work for a limited amount of time, but at some point you're still going to have to face those problems, whether you're still high or you're sober. Understanding that cannabis is a tool, a great way to, for one, calm your nervous system down and help you look at things from a different perspectives, allows you to use it in that way opposed to just using it to escape. Because once you have that understanding and awareness, you take advantage of it. You learn how to alchemize those things because be- all I really want you to take from this is that cannabis doesn't solve your problems for you. If anything, it'll help you it'll calm your nervous system down enough for you to look at things from a different perspective and be able to move accordingly. And let that be the intention rather than you just escaping, because there is no escaping. You're not given stuff that's too big for you to handle. You can handle anything that's thrown at you. And if cannabis helps you regulate your thoughts, calm you down, or any positive way to help you get through that opposed to just avoiding it, I fully support. And just be honest about that. Just be honest. And that's a very different relationship than trying to use the plant to numb yourself. Here's some questions that I want you to ask yourself the next time you smoke. If this is your first time really being intentional behind the reason why you use the plant, understand that sometimes the answers aren't going to come to you immediately. It does take time, but just ask yourself the question. And it'll get easier over time. Like that question will come up continuously in your subconscious to where you're always having intention behind the reason why you're smoking. So yeah, the first couple times it's not gonna just click, and if it does, that's you. But to the people who it doesn't click to, that's okay. Just take it one day at a time. That's all you can do in this life. So the first question I want you to ask yourself, and this is questions that you can either think internally, write down in a journal, whatever resonates for you, even doing a video response so that you can just see how what what is consistent throughout your times of smoking. Like you'll find out that your triggers are X, Y, and Z, and this is, or these strains help you work through this, and you'll just learn more about yourself that you wouldn't normally know. So, the first question would be, why do I want to smoke right now? It's a pretty self-explanatory question. What is the reason behind you feeling the need to pick the plant up and to use it? Another question is, how do I feel before I smoke? Am I overstimulated? Am I understimulated? Am I just bored? Do I need something to do? Ask yourself that. And then ask yourself, how do you feel afterward? Did that fulfill whatever was lacking? Did that give you what you were looking for? And these questions help you understand a bit more of your relationship with the plant, because the goal is to never judge yourself. It's really just to get a better understanding of yourself. Thank you for rolling with me on my very first Diaries of a Mindful Stoner podcast. If this vibed with you, go ahead and subscribe, like, comment. Well, I'll have more content coming soon, especially now that we're doing uh, especially now that we're doing the visuals. I'm very excited to post up in my hammock at different locations and just take you guys with me so you could get a vibe of what it's like over here in the hammock. And I always encourage you to get a hammock and get out in nature, touch some grass. So that is a wrap on the very first visual episode of Diaries of a Mindful Stoner. I thank you for listening this far. Until next time, stay grounded even when you're lifted.